As a parent, what is the most heartbreaking thing your child has told you? Back in 2002, I married my boyfriend of 4 years and a year later we had a daughter. She was what he had pushed for as I felt we had time to travel and run around a bit more, but he wanted a child badly. Of course, once I had her I could not have been happier and will always be grateful that I had her when I did. Fast forward to 2006, when I hit my limit on his constant cheating and decided to divorce him. I was miserable, had started to wonder myself and knew this was no way to live. Our constant arguments and his denials or saying it would never happen again, then walking in at 4 a.m., etc. He pleaded for another chance and I said no. We divorced quickly and he started seeing another woman seriously immediately. I liked her. I unrealistically thought we could all be adults about this. She was an elementary school teacher by day and hostess by night. I wasn't bitter, but excited about my new life and wanted him happy. And I knew my daughter's time spent with him would be with women present. So I preferred him having a serious partner rather than random women. I knew he lacked the maturity and discipline to spend weekends alone with our daughter, yet loved her dearly. She was 4 and adored her daddy. Within months his pregnant girlfriend became his wife. She went from the nice lady who took my daughter at 4 and 5 to get a pedicure and watch Hannah Montana to the woman who told my ex-husband you have a new family. You don't need your daughter in your life anymore. Over the next few years he spent less and less time with our daughter, and had more children with his wife. My daughter loved going to spend time with her daddy, and she loved having 2 younger brothers. Plus while I lived in a walk-up in Manhattan, he had a 4,000 square foot house on 7 acres in New Jersey. She loved our home but loved her weekend getaways. She'd come home and talk about them for hours. When she was 7, I received what I call the abandonment letter. Such a gut punch. Up to that point, visitation was off and on with him. He'd stand her up for months at a time, her bags packed, plans made, then simply no show. His letter stated he was unable to exercise my visitation rights citing work schedule and distance, both excuses. As I had offered multiple times to do the drop-offs and pickups and he worked a 40-hour week, nothing excessive. He hasn't seen her since. That was around July 2010. No Christmas card, no happy birthday, no Father's Day call, nothing. I reached out devastated for her, trying to convince him to change his mind. No return calls. She was out like yesterday's trash. As our daughter got older she did not give up wanting to communicate with him, which is what devastates me. As most parents know, the pain is ours tenfold when we see our children suffering. So here finally are the answers to the question. At 7 or so, she saved up a bunch of coins and her hot pink rhinestone purse and made a stop at a payphone so she could call him. I don't want you to call him on your cell phone because he won't answer. Let's call on this phone. She proceeded to put about $3 worth of change in to dial out of state and asked me for daddy's number. She dialed excitedly as if she had just thought of a new solution to her dilemma. She got his voicemail and her excited message was left and of course never returned. Or the time when she was around 8 and made us go into a card store, so she could pick out a card, saying Happy Valentine's Day, from your little sweetheart. Mommy, you're going to mail this for me, right? I mailed it, but never received a reply. The next painful thing was her searching for him on Facebook. She had a page at around 11 years old, which I monitored for safety, to communicate with cousins, friends, etc. She searched for him and nothing came up and I thought that was the end of it. Then she called me one day from her cousin's house and said, Mommy, can you believe daddy blocked me from Facebook? All I could say was I'm sorry baby, want me to come get you? When my daughter was 12 my ex-husband had twins with his wife, bringing their total to 4. I was on vacation with my second husband and she called me and said, Mommy, can you believe he had 2 more kids? Like he's forgotten about me. He had a boy and a girl and she saw a pic of them in the hospital with big smiles and a baby on each arm. She had found a way to see his wife's page. I can go on for days, but I'll end with this one. What I overheard her tell some older girls. She was around 13 and some older girls were playing with her. When I heard one say, do you have any sisters or brothers? She said yes, I have 2 brothers. The girl replied, you must be the best sister. I'm sure you play with them all the time. She lied and said with a faint smile, yes. I had to walk out of the room to keep from crying. She is now 14 and has had counseling and is a happy child despite a gaping hole in her heart. I found she still keeps a picture of him holding her in her phone, but doesn't bring him up. My ex-husband's parents are both deceased so it's not like I can get them to help. His family doesn't like what he's done, and have been nice but of course family event invitations don't come, as they spend them with him with his new family. His friends don't communicate with him. He pretty much cut them off when his new wife came along. My faith and time have gotten me through this. There were times when I wanted nothing good for this disgusting, insecure, evil excuse for a woman who felt devastating a child was needed in order for her to have her happy family. For anyone reading this, who's that parent who abandoned their children or the spouse who doesn't mind because it's more convenient for their new life? I hope this makes you reconsider. It's never too late to say sorry. Let the child choose to abandon you or take you back. They should never be the one abandoned.
I already forgave her cheating but now I saw details and can't cope with the way she had dirty. I am really freaking out right now and hope you guys can help me. My girlfriend of 2.5 years has cheated and I already forgave her. Now I learned that the dirty was much worse than I expected and I don't know how to handle this. It happened about 2 months ago. My girlfriend was at a party at the shared apartment of some of her friends. Nothing special. I wasn't in town as I had to work in a different city. The next day she called me crying and told me that she had cheated. I was shocked. When I came back the day after that, we had a long talk. She didn't tell me much details and I didn't ask for it. She said that she had had a few drinks and just went with the flow and then had intimacy there. I actually didn't ask with whom. As she seemed to be really sorry, I tried to get over it. It took me some time, but I actually managed to really forgive her, and I thought our relationship was on a good track again. Her cheating wasn't a topic at all anymore. I admit that I was wondering about details from time to time, but I didn't want to talk about it and thought that it doesn't matter. However, I was very, very wrong. Yesterday I talked to a guy who was there as well, and he seemed to be very surprised that I had been able to forgive her. I tried to explain to him that I appreciated her honesty and that she never tried to hide it at all. I wasn't able to understand his confusion until I was finally brave enough to ask about details. I almost blacked out when he told me. To cut a long story short, it wasn't just normal dirty with one guy. She apparently did it with at least 3 of them and did things she'd never do with me. I still have no words for it. Actually, I thought he was making this up, but he had proof, and I can't get this off my mind now. I don't know how to ever cope with this. I know that I didn't ask for details, but it still feels like she lied to me, even though she technically maybe didn't. I hate that I went through a lot of mental trouble to keep this relationship alive and now have to learn this. I am completely freaking out right now.